What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Lamonts G Custom Knife Show, the number 3 podcast. Oh my goodness, I just got in driving through a snowstorm in Alabama. That's been a theme this winter, man. A lot of snow and 40 miles an hour winds with a negative 1 below 0 degree temperature. It's pretty frigid out there. But I'm all warm and toasty inside, so I want to talk about a few things. With this wind blowing the way it is, I might have to pause it and go out there and grab something. That wind is pretty rough. But anyway, I want to get into a few topics, which I probably won't be able to dive into today. I'll probably wait to the next show because yesterday evening and last night, talked about a few things with some friends of mine. And as we're talking, we also, listen to the news and other things. And we noticed that Tom Homan, the border czar for the Trump administration, was talking to the blonde-headed lady from Morning Joe. And this man is trying to tell her, our mission is to get these security threats off the street, but we can't do our job with the agitation, the agitators, the rioters, etc. Miko Kavinsky, I think that's her name. And she was controlling this interview with a specific narrative. And so we start talking amongst each other. And I was like, you know what? I know for at least the past 30 years, that same liberal mindset not only has controlled the media, they have controlled the music industry, the movie industry, pretty much the culture. And ladies and gentlemen, when you control the culture, you control the world. Now, it was more eloquently said by Vince Ellison. He was quoting, I can't remember, Socrates or somebody, but those who control the culture controls the world, basically what it boils down to. And I want y'all to think about this, man. In the world today, you have, especially Hollywood. You got Hollywood. You got the mainstream liberal media. You have old music icons. They're all liberal. They're all social. Well, I can't say all socialists because a lot of them are capitalists when it comes to that money. But they're all liberal minded. And I think I can't remember his name. He's a great conservative radio host. Rush Limbaugh, said that liberalism is a form of mental illness, and it is. It is, and we see it. But just like with the transgenderism, just like with the gay stuff, they try to make this the normal. They try to make it normal, and it's not. Not to me. I'm not going to be complicit. You know, I can't stand by and just watch this crap happen. I got grandkids, man. I do not want my grandkids living in a liberal utopia. Yeah, well, ain't nothing utopia about liberalism. I don't want them to live in a liberal hellhole. That's the right word to use, hellhole. And so I'm going to do my part, whether big or small. We have to defeat liberalism. Listen, there's always going to be liberals, always going to be liberal-minded people, always going to be evil. But my point to this is, Just like for the last 30, 40, 50, maybe even 100 years, maybe 200 years, 300 years, they have controlled entertainment, they have controlled messaging, news, and therefore they have control over. That's why you have so many decades and decades and what's the word I'm looking for? Generations of liberals. I remember one of my favorite movies of all time, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner? And Sidney Poitier, I can't remember who he was talking to, but he was talking to the girl he was going to marry, and he said, "My dad," which was referring to her, is a lifelong liberal, fighting for this and fighting for that. Dude, that movie was made back in the '60s, referencing the previous 60, 70 years of her father's life. My father's a lifelong liberal, fighting for this and fighting for that. It goes back decades, y'all. Goes back generations. That mindset. And we have to start now changing minds. I heard this one white woman saying, her family go back hundreds and hundreds of years, but she remember her great grandmother, and they were fighting liberals. And they never would invite anybody of color in their house, never would sit down next to them to eat. Uh, really didn't communicate with them. Now, you could call that a little bit of prejudice or bigotry, but when it comes to liberals, it's racist. See, they gonna call the person who actually is not racist racist. They gonna call the people who are righteous evil when it's them. They're the racist. They're the evil because that's their mindset. I was telling my wife this morning actually. You, if you studied human behavior back in school, whether it's high school or college, I would challenge you to go back and re-up on that, and you will get a better understanding with a adult mind than you will with a child's mind about human behavior, and you will understand why liberals act and say what they do. A liberal will tell you that this ring I got on my finger is green. They'll tell you a million ways they come up with that conclusion. But with my eyes, that's silver. Can you see it? That's silver. But a liberal will tell you that ring is green. A liberal will tell you a boy can menstruate. A boy can have a baby. A man can have a baby. A little boy can be a little girl if he just wants to. A little girl can be a little boy if she wants to. And it's all a facade. It's almost like Twilight Zone shit. Now, I'm a big fan of Twilight Zone. Love Twilight Zone. But Twilight Zone, even though it's fictional, it teaches you that liberal mindset. It sets in another dimension. A liberal will tell you the sky is black when the sun is out. And they will fight you, they will kill you if you don't get on board with them. Y'all, we have to change that mindset. We have to start with our children. We can't continue generation after generation after generation of this evil. And it's not just here in America, it's all over the world. Well, it's all over the European countries, all parts of Australia, anywhere where that demon white liberal has any area that white demon liberal has conquered, you're going to have those generational curses of liberalism. Excuse me. I'm gonna turn this heat up. It is cold. Um, I got a hit or a notification uh, from one of my Twitter profiles or X profiles, and actually, it was my first encounter of somebody wanting to conversate. Like I asked on every show, listen, conversate, hit me up, conversate. So this person actually did that. And I'm like, yes, I'm with it. I'm all with it, 100%. Because we got to talk about this thing. You know, we got to. I don't want to say build a movement because everybody's got a movement in today's world, but we really have to get with organizations like TPUSA and other Christian organizations, and we have to get our kids on the right path. So this individual, so okay, we could do it we could do it this way, this way, this way, A, B, C, or D. I'm like, I'm not paying to stream live or live stream, however this individual put it. I'm like, can I just open up my computer or get my camera and we almost like what is it? Is it FaceTime? Almost like a FaceTime type deal that we ain't gotta pay for. Hell, we can download that, save it or whatever, and then post it. And this individual is a professional, a very professional, and it's nothing for this individual, to have a what's the word I'm looking for? Every month this individual pays, I think, $39 for the streaming prescription. Is it prescription? Yeah, prescription. I don't know what the hell I'm talking. Anyway, this person pays $39 a month for the streaming thing. So it's nothing for this individual to have panels and talk to an individual, both on face, be side by side, etc. I'm gonna be honest with you. I thought that my wife, I use some of her equipment, and she had this thing what is called WebEx. Hold on one second. And she has this thing what is called WebEx, and with WebEx, damn, the date the 31st sure is. Huh. And when they do Zooms and conferences via the Zoom, so I got it right here on this equipment. So I'm like, I can just click on it and it'll work. Well, now you have to pay for it. So I'm like, well, damn. So I said all that to say this: my chances of collabing and conversating with other individuals and and platforming it on my different platforms, it's kind of looking a little bit bleak. I'm not into I'm not paying for that. I'm sorry. When I can just open up my camera on my phone or my computer, talk directly into it, download it, and put it on my platforms. So more than likely, I'll probably have to get a guest, pull out the big camera, and we set up a little something, and we can talk like that. Anyway, let's get back to the conversation. So we, as we watch this interview with Tom Holman and this Mika woman, we also watch some more interviews with different people, high level people in the administration, and they just can't go on Fox News or Newsmax and talk. They have to go to CNNs and NBC and CBS and these other Face the Nation and all this mess. They have to communicate, but the hypocrisy of these liberal hacks, because I can't call them journalists because they're not journalists, they're hacks, but the hypocrisy with these people is unbelievable. And I think it was Greg Gutfeld said it best, man, on the Five on Fox. He was like, and I think he was speaking to the only liberal person on that panel, but he was saying, listen, for the last 4 to 5 years, y'all have destroyed this country, whether it be illegals, whether it be stealing, taxes, stupid policies with that administration. And Lord Jesus, if y'all really knew the policies, and see that's why I know Joe Biden when running things, it was somebody within his organization that was heavily involved with the LGBTQ movement that was behind a lot of this. But if y'all realize the policies that these people put up on us for the last 4 years, and it's crazy. And there's an investigation going on in Fulton County, Georgia now, which is right up the road. Do y'all remember the election, 2019, 2020 election? They showed a camera. Well, they showed some footage from a camera. This damn black woman had 2 or 3 boxes, and she was just feeding these machines. And to this day, I'm like, we saw that. Why ain't nobody doing nothing about it? It happened in multiple places. But that's the investigation going on right now in Fulton County, Georgia. And y'all, it happened in states like Pennsylvania, Georgia, and maybe 1 or 2 more. But those were the swing states that really swore the election the other way. They were all fake ballots. They were. I think. Listen, I don't want to report nothing crazy because I'm not a journalist and I haven't studied this. I haven't deep dive into it. I'm just giving information I've heard through another source that it was over at that one location 20,000, 30,000 Joe Biden ballots. They were fake false ballots. But we saw it, and that's my point. It wasn't no trick photography. It wasn't no AI. This was real. This woman was feeding these machines. But like I told you earlier, a liberal will show you a liberal will show you an orange, an apple, and a lemon. And they will tell you all three of them are freshly picked, but they're all black. No, no such thing. You can't have a black apple. You can't have a black orange. You can't have a black lemon. Now I know genetically they can modify it to be this, that, this, and that, but you ain't gonna genetically modify it to be black. They will kill you if you said different. My eyes tell me I see a red apple, an orange, and a yellow lemon. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get me some thumbnail shots. But they will tell you what your lying eyes but not believe. Listen, y'all, I'm sick of that mindset. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. Like I said earlier, I got grandkids, man. I don't want my grandkids growing up believing a lie like I have. I was talking to a older white guy yesterday when I was at work, and he said something that even though in my circle we think alike, and they are the reasons that I was like, dude, we've been lied to for years and years. This is a white guy who said this, and he was talking about actually controlling the weather. He wasn't talking about what was on my mind because when he said, "Man, we've been lied to all our lives," the first thing popped up in my mind, the 1960s civil rights movement. All of it was a lie. All of it was a lie. And I've told the story a million times, and I'm going to tell it one more. When you go to church every Sunday and you get a fan, that they have in church, the fan with, you either going to see Jesus Christ or Martin Luther King on those fans. When you go to your grandma's house, you're going to see a picture of Jesus, you're going to see a picture of Martin Luther King. Now, there ain't nothing fake or not real about Jesus. Everything's real there. But Martin Luther King was fake. He was a puppet. And that whole movement was fake. And I talked to a buddy the other day, he's like, man, you know, Malcolm X was considered a radical. And the people he was around, yeah, he was a radical. His religion is not one that we respect or acknowledge. But he was right when it comes to that white liberal. The most dangerous entity that's ever been is that white liberal. The most dangerous entity that has ever been. Not a dinosaur, not a mega shark, not King Kong, not Godzilla, not some mythical beast. The most dangerous entity that has ever graced this planet has been that white liberal. Don't matter what century, don't matter what decade, don't matter what era, that white liberal is the most dangerous entity to ever grace this planet. And I would argue they're more dangerous now than they have ever been. But you know, the way they've killed, and I'm talking about the white liberal, the way they have killed many things and many people and hurt over eternity. Just think, and listen, I'm not all mad about what we consider slavery of the Negro in America. I can't, because I'm gonna be honest with you. I can't righteously say had there not been slavery, I wouldn't be where I am right now. Many black folks wouldn't be where they are. We'll be somewhere in Africa herding buffalo or herding sheep. I know there's a lot of terrible things that happened that took place, and that's very unfortunate. But you know, just about every known human or humanoid has at one time, at one point, been a slave, and it was terrible things happening to them. They fought, they had children, and they made a better world for their children, just like those slaves, and their children made a better life for me. Then we should be making better lives for our children, but we're actually going backwards in today's world. But anyway, my point to all that is, I don't all disagree with. I mean, my mind ain't where there where everybody else's mind is when it comes to slavery. Yeah, it was a bad thing, blah blah blah. But slavery actually did more for my generation because my parents and their parents had to fight to where many people my age in the 40s, 50s, and 60s were so fucking lazy because we didn't have to do shit. We didn't have to fight. We didn't have to get out there and do this and do that. Even though the civil rights movement of the 60s was false, it's a propaganda, they were puppets, you still have some people out there who believed in the cause and they went out there to fight. Did they fight like the people of the 1850s, 1860s, before the Civil War? Probably not. And so that's why I say my mama's mama her mother, which was a slave. They are my true heroes. Now, I love my father, I love my mother, and I thank God for them 100 million times. But my great grandmama, on my mama's side, which was a slave, I don't know. I've never heard anything about her father. Pretty sure he was a slave as well. But they are my heroes. They are, because without them, I don't think without their fight, their strength wouldn't be here. Nope. Let me give me a sip of water. Well, actually, some energy juice. Give me a sip, a little bit of energy juice, and I am going to come back and conclude this. I think this is a very important conversation, and I'm going to conclude it. But we're talking about the white liberal and how dangerous that entity is. I'll be right back. Well, if I hit the damn button, I'll be right back. All right, let's go ahead and conclude this. Excuse me. I know my shows and my podcasts don't reach a lot of people, and that's cool. But I do know I reach a lot of people, or a few people, because I see the numbers. And I'm being very sincere when I say this, y'all. We as Christians, black, white, green, and yellow, we don't want to hate anybody. We don't want to kill anybody. We want to change minds. We want to take that white liberal who has believed all of his or her life that they're superior to anybody else, and that they have to apologize because we're scum and they so superior to us and they have to protect us. And we have to change that mindset. And when you change that mindset and to show them that we're all under God, we're all equal. Ain't nobody superior to nobody, mentally, physically, or nothing else. But most important, to show them the love of God, because that's what's lacking. But whether it been 3,000 years ago or 3 hours ago, that's what's lacking with the liberal. They're godless. They can claim they're Catholics, they can claim they're Jewish, they can claim this and they can claim that. No, your actions prove that you're godless. There's no God in you. He created you, but he doesn't live within your heart. And when you don't have that, you have nothing but evil. Evil spores just keeps. Watch some of these crazy Karens out there. Well, no, you know what? Just watch some of these crazy liberal politicians. You can see just by looking at them, evil grows within them like a spore, and it infects their minds. These people are crazy, y'all. But as Christians, we have to do our best in the name of the Lord God Almighty to try to change the mindset. That's probably the hardest task ever in the history of the world, because as the great Vince Everett Ellison said, they're ICE Democrats, they're ICE liberals, ignorant, crazy, and evil. If you can take care of that first part, in my opinion, if you can take care of that ICE, I'm sorry, the I in ICE, the ignorant part, you may be able to change that E, the evil. Now, evil is evil, but I think in most cases, in a lot of cases, you can change bad to good. That C, that second letter, nah, that's something God gonna have to deal with himself. Cause crazy is crazy, and you cannot stop being crazy. And that's why we need to build, instead of building alligator Alcatraz, we need to build alligator crazy houses, because these liberals needs to be institutionalized. They really do. But listen, I done said a mouthful. Done went a little long, but uh, that's what it is. Let me answer this phone. So, in conclusion, stay prayed up. Keep God first, y'all. As always, I love you. I appreciate you. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, you guys stay blessed. And I'll see you next time.